They told him it was impossible. A landlocked nation strangled by jihadists, drained by foreign mining giants, and shackled to a colonial currency it didn't even print. Then, a 34-year-old army captain walked into the presidential palace, tore up the rulebook, and started pouring concrete, gold, and steel into projects that have left Western capitals scrambling for answers. From a hidden gold refinery rising out of the savannah to a fleet of mobile hospitals built to outrun jihadist ambushes, Burkina Faso, under Ibrahim Traore, has become the most disruptive experiment in modern Africa. And the West is watching, terrified. Because if this works, the dominoes don't stop falling at the edge of the Sahara. Join us, and let's discover the mega projects of Ibrahim Traore shocking the West. Let's go.
Number 1.3. Cashew Processing Industry. For decades, Burkinabe farmers in the lush southwestern hills bent over cashew trees from sunrise to sunset, harvesting one of West Africa's most prized nuts. Then they watched, helpless, as trucks hauled their entire crop across borders to Vietnam and India, raw and unprocessed. Those countries cracked the shells, roasted the kernels, and resold them to Europe at 10 times the price. Burkina Faso got the sweat. Foreigners got the fortune. Ibrahim Traore called this exactly what it was, theft in slow motion. So he built an answer. Modern cashew processing facilities now rise across the Southwest, equipped with steam cooking systems that crack tough shells without destroying the fragile kernels inside. Sorting machines grade nuts by size and quality, the same precision tech used in premium global food markets. Quality control labs verify international food safety standards before a single bag leaves the gate. The numbers expose the scandal. Vietnam, today's cashew superpower, was importing raw nuts 30 years ago. Now it dominates the world. Traore studied that exact playbook and copied it. Farmers receive guaranteed contracts at premium prices, killing the exploitation cycle. Cashew shells become biofuel. Byproducts feed livestock. Nothing is wasted. Thousands of rural jobs replace the slow migration to coastal slums. But the real shock comes when you realize this single industry could reroute hundreds of millions of dollars annually back into Burkinabe pockets. And cashews were only the warm-up. The next project changed something far more personal. Something every Burkinabe family puts on the table every single night.
Number 1.2. Yako Tomato Plant. In the sun-blasted northern town of Yako, mountains of tomatoes used to rot in the heat. Farmers harvested more than they could ever sell. The roads were too long, the buyers were too few. The fruit turned to mush before it hit a single market. Meanwhile, Burkina Faso burned precious foreign currency, importing canned tomato paste from Italy and China. Read that twice. A country growing too many tomatoes was buying tomato paste from the other side of the planet. Ibrahim Traore ended that humiliation with one ribbon cut. An $8.9 million processing plant now stands on a single hectare of land near the Yako Dam, chosen for its reliable water supply. The facility devours 100 tons of fresh tomatoes every single day, 5 tons every hour at full throttle. But the genius is not the steel, it's the structure. This plant is a cooperative. The farmers who grow the tomatoes own equity in the factory that processes them. The same hands that pick the fruit hold a stake in the profits. In its very first year, projections show the plant turning over more than $11 million. That's $11 million of value that used to evaporate into rotting piles. Now it flows back into rural villages as wages, dividends, and infrastructure. Imagine an entire continent built on this single principle. The farmer becomes the shareholder. That terrifies the global commodity trading houses, because if Burkina Faso pulls this off with tomatoes, every African crop becomes a target for the same liberation. And Traore didn't stop with one plant.
Only 1% of people know the dark truth behind what we are about to show you next. If you want to be part of the few who actually know what's happening in the world, subscribe and leave a like right now. Done? Look at this.
Number 1.1. Bobo Dioulasso Processing Plant. Weeks before the Yako facility cut its ribbon, a quieter revolution had already roared to life in Bobo Dioulasso, the commercial heartbeat of Burkina Faso. There, a 7.5 billion CFA franc investment ignited the very first tomato processing plant in the country's history. Think about the scale of that number, 7.5 billion, for a nation the West labeled a failed state. The complex sprawls across 5 hectares with a 1,200 square meter production hall, raw material bays, finished goods warehouses, and precision laboratories staffed by technicians trained to global food safety standards. Capacity: another 100 tons of fresh tomatoes per day. Together with Yako, that's 200 tons being processed every 24 hours. 200 tons of harvest no longer rotting in the sun. The product line goes far beyond paste. Concentrate, sauce bases, culinary blends crafted specifically for West African kitchens, even premium recipes targeting urban supermarkets across the region. This is not import substitution. This is import replacement and export aggression rolled into one. The financing model is the kicker. Traore refused to let foreign banks own the future. Public funds fused with community shareholding mean Burkina Faso families literally own the factories feeding the continent. For the West, this is the nightmare scenario. A country they wrote off as a charity case is now competing in the same value chains they used to monopolize. But food was never the only commodity Traore wanted to take back. Cotton was waiting next, and that fight got dirtier.
Number 1.0. Cotton Processing Center. Burkina Faso is one of the largest cotton producers in all of Africa. White gold, they call it. For generations, that gold left the country as raw bales on European-bound ships. The processors in France, China, and Bangladesh spun it, wove it, sewed it, and sold the finished shirts back to Burkina Faso shops at premium prices. The country growing the cotton was buying back its own crop, marked up 600%. Ibrahim Traore declared war on that arrangement. The National Support Center for Artisanal Cotton Processing now stretches across 15,000 square meters of production halls, quality control labs, and training workshops. Modern machinery handles every stage, from ginning and cleaning through spinning, weaving, and finished garment manufacturing. Then comes the bombshell decree. Burkina Faso has banned the importation of second-hand clothing entirely. The mountains of used Western shirts that used to flood African markets and crush local tailors are gone. Even the country's military uniforms are now stitched from domestic cotton inside Burkina Faso factories. Traditional weavers work alongside the new industrial machines, blending ancient patterns with modern efficiency to create textiles that compete on cultural authenticity, not just price. Comprehensive training programs build a skilled workforce that retains young people in rural areas instead of feeding them to the migration pipeline. The center exports across West Africa, leveraging Burkina Faso's central location to reach markets that Western brands had long ignored. Spindles turn, looms pound. The fabric of an independent economy is literally being woven thread by thread. But manufacturing only matters if you can move it, and that's where the next project rewrote the entire map.
Number 9. Air Burkina Revival. The bold red and green livery vanished from West African skies for years. Air Burkina, the national carrier, was grounded by financial collapse, aging aircraft, and a route network that looked like a starvation diet. Western analysts wrote the obituary. Then Ibrahim Traore did something no one expected. He resurrected it. The administration rolled out a layered survival plan. Government-backed financial stabilization first, new leadership next, then fleet renewal with fuel-efficient aircraft serving both short-haul regional routes and long-haul international destinations. Hangars, ground operations, and maintenance facilities received complete overhauls with state-of-the-art equipment. Crucially, those facilities now serve other regional carriers as well, generating revenue and influence Burkina Faso never had before.
The route map tells the strategic story. New connections link Ouagadougou to major West African capitals, opening doors for trade, cultural exchange, and political coordination with the very neighbors Western powers tried to keep divided. Fresh routes to Europe and North Africa mean Burkina-Faso citizens can fly abroad without detouring through colonial-era hubs in Paris or Brussels. They reclaim their own movement under their own flag. Thousands of jobs followed. Pilots, cabin crew, technicians, ground staff, all trained through partnerships designed to keep talent at home. Conference planners and trade delegations now treat Burkina Faso as accessible and professional, a country with both charm and capability. Every takeoff carries more than passengers. It carries sovereignty itself. But planes need places to land, and that's where the ground game got serious.
Number 8. National Road Network. Burkina Faso is landlocked. No coastline, no ports, no sea access whatsoever. For Western trading powers, that geography was a permanent leash. Goods could only move through ports controlled by neighbors aligned with Paris. Ibrahim Traore, Burkina Faso to coastal nations and slash transport costs. Secondary roads dig deeper into the rural veins of the country, converting impassable seasonal trails into all-weather access routes. For farming villages, this is literal life support. In the past, a strong harvest often spoiled in the fields during rainy seasons because there was no way to move it. Now movement means survival, and survival means power. The construction projects themselves became massive employment engines. Young workers train in machinery operation, surveying, and logistics, skills that outlast the asphalt. Wages flow into local economies, lighting up dormant towns. The strategy reaches further. New roads unlock untapped mineral zones, fertile farmland never properly exploited, and tourism corridors hidden by isolation for decades. They also bolster national security, allowing rapid deployment of forces to remote areas, previously cut off from government control. Domestic engineering firms partner with global experts, learning techniques adapted to Sahel soils and tropical floods. Maintenance plans protect the investment for generations. Each kilometer of new road is a kilometer of foreign control rolled back. But there was one infrastructure project that shocked even Traore's allies because of its sheer scale and the speed at which it was approved.
Number 7. Donzin International Airport. Back in 2013, everyone in Ouagadougou knew the truth. Thomas Sankara International Airport was bursting at the seams, stretched far beyond its limits, dangerously outdated. Plans to replace it gathered dust for years, while leaders made promises and never delivered. Then, Ibrahim Traore moved. The Donzin International Airport rose from the dormant blueprints in 2021 and is set for completion in 2025. The specs are staggering. A runway stretching 11,000 feet, long enough to land wide-body aircraft from anywhere on Earth. A 25,000 square meter terminal alive with duty-free shops, restaurants, and sleek business lounges. A 15,000 square meter cargo facility purpose-built to make Burkina Faso a logistics hub for landlocked West African neighbors. Read that again. A landlocked country positioning itself as the central distribution point for an entire region, reversing centuries of dependence on coastal gateways controlled by former colonial powers. 5,000 new jobs flow from this single project. Air traffic controllers, customs agents, chefs, baggage handlers, hotel staff, security personnel. The construction itself blended public investment, private partnerships, and technical guidance from aeroports to Paris management. A Burkina Faso-led project drawing on global expertise without surrendering control. The airport is more than a gateway. It's a pivot from being a transit stop into becoming a destination. Global conferences, curious tourists, regional headquarters of multinationals. None of it was possible before. All of it is now in reach. Yet planes and runways mean nothing if your population is dying from preventable diseases. And that's exactly the wound Traore went to heal next. Number 6. Domestic pharmaceutical production. For decades, Burkina Faso bought its medicine from European pharmaceutical giants at prices that bankrupted families and emptied government budgets. A single course of antibiotics could cost a farmer a month's harvest. When supply chains broke, hospitals ran dry. The country's health depended on the goodwill of corporations headquartered 5,000 miles away. Ibrahim Traore made the unthinkable decision. Burkina Faso would manufacture its own pharmaceuticals. The project is now in motion. Domestic production facilities are designed to manufacture essential medicines, vaccines, and basic medical supplies at a fraction of import costs. The strategy goes beyond economics. It hits sovereignty at its core. A nation that cannot produce its own medicine cannot truly govern its own people. Local employment in the medical manufacturing sector creates skilled jobs for chemists, biologists, technicians, and engineers who otherwise leave the country chasing futures abroad. Supply chains become predictable, meaning hospitals can finally plan treatments without praying that imports arrive on time. The new mobile clinics and modernized hospitals depend on consistent medication flows. This pharmaceutical project is what makes the entire health revolution sustainable. Without local production, the system collapses the moment global supply chains hiccup. With it, Burkina Faso steps into the rarefied club of African nations producing their own cures. The implications are seismic. Other Sahel countries are watching. If Traore succeeds, the colonial pharmaceutical pipeline that has milked Africa for generations starts cracking. But the medicines need to reach the patients, and that geography problem birthed perhaps the most emotionally charged project of the entire program.
Number 5. Mobile Medical Clinics Network. When Ibrahim Traore took power in 2022, he confronted a brutal reality. Communities across Burkina Faso existed more than 5,000 meters from the nearest health facility. Picture that distance for a pregnant woman in labor, walking through dust and danger. Picture it for a child burning with malaria fever, carried on a parent's back along jihadist-threatened roads. Picture it for an elderly farmer collapsing from a heart attack, hours from any doctor. That distance was not inconvenience. It was a death sentence handed down by geography. Traore responded with one of the most innovative healthcare initiatives in modern African history: sophisticated mobile hospitals. Not simple ambulances, but fully equipped medical units carrying diagnostic equipment, surgical capabilities, and specialized medical staff. They navigate the toughest terrain to reach the most isolated villages. The scale escalated quickly. 55 modern communal medical centers under construction across the country, 5 specialized resuscitation units, advanced medical equipment officially handed over to health structures in Ouagadougou, funded not by foreign aid but by Burkina Faso state resources. The partnership with the Islamic Development Bank reimagined healthcare delivery for a country where roads vanish in the rainy season and security situations shift hourly. For the rural mother no longer terrified of childbirth, this is everything. For the farmer who can finally receive treatment for an injury before infection sets in, this is everything. This is healthcare as a declaration of national worth. But economic life and human life run on the same engine, and Traore attacked the engine itself with a project that hit Western banks where it hurts most.
Number 4. National Gold Refinery. Burkina Faso sits on rivers of gold. For decades after independence, those rivers flowed straight out of the country as raw ore, sold cheap to foreign buyers who refined it and resold it at fortune-multiplying prices. The country produced the wealth, foreigners pocketed the profits. In November 2023, Ibrahim Traore laid the foundation stone for something Burkina Faso had never possessed in its entire history: a national gold refinery. The capacity is staggering: 150 tons of refined gold per year. State-of-the-art smelting and purification technology, refining ore to global standards of 99.9% purity. The facility processes gold from both small artisanal miners and large-scale industrial operators. Inside its walls sit assaying laboratories, secure vaults, and administrative hubs handling the most sensitive logistics in global commerce. Filtration and waste systems exceed international environmental benchmarks. Now picture the math. Burkina Faso miners used to sell raw ore at bargain prices. With domestic refining, value capture rises by 40 to 60%. That unlocks hundreds of millions of dollars annually for the national economy. Even more dangerous to Western banks, the refinery enables Burkina Faso to build domestic gold reserves, supporting currency stability and opening borrowing terms that bypass colonial financial structures entirely. Skilled metallurgists, chemical engineers, and security experts find careers at home.
Transportation companies and maintenance crews thrive in the gold-rich regions. The refinery is not a building, it is a declaration that the era of African resources funding foreign luxury is finished. But Traore went further still, and his next move was as much symbolic as economic.
Number 3. Removal of French as official language. For 60 years after independence, French remained the official language of Burkina Faso. The language of government documents, the language of courtrooms, the language of school instruction, the language that determined who climbed the social ladder and who stayed locked at the bottom. It was the linguistic chain binding Burkina Faso to Paris long after the colonial troops marched home. Then, Ibrahim Traore broke the chain. French has been removed as the official language of Burkina Faso. Indigenous national languages have been elevated to replace the colonial tongue in official capacity. The decision is not symbolic decoration. It is a structural rewrite of how power flows through the entire country. Children in rural villages now access education in languages their families actually speak. Government services finally reach citizens who never mastered French and were therefore second-class participants in their own democracy. Court proceedings can be conducted in More, Dula, and Fulfulde, the actual mother tongues of the population. The cultural earthquake reaches across borders. When a country removes the colonial language from official status, it sends a message that vibrates through every former French colony in Africa. Mali notices, Niger notices, Senegal notices. The entire architecture of Francophony, the diplomatic and cultural network Paris built to maintain influence after physical colonization ended, suddenly looks fragile. The French language was never just words, it was the operating system of dependence. Traore pulled the plug. But removing words is one thing. Taking back the actual physical wealth of the nation, that's where the real shockwave hit.
Number 2. Nationalization of Bongo and Wagnon gold mines. Western mining giants had operated Burkinabe gold mines for decades under contracts that resembled colonial-era extraction agreements. The mines produced fortunes. The fortunes flowed offshore. The communities living near the mines remained desperately poor, breathing dust and watching armored trucks haul wealth across borders. Ibrahim Traore ended the arrangement with a single sweeping declaration. The Bongo and Wagnon gold mines now belong to the government of Burkina Faso. Read that sentence carefully, because it represents one of the most audacious resource nationalization moves in modern African history. The mines are not partially controlled, they are not under joint venture review, they are state property. The implications cascade in every direction. Mining licenses for new projects, including a gold operation granted to a Russian company called Nordgold, now operate under terms set by Ouagadougou rather than dictated by foreign capitals. Profits from the nationalized mines flow into national development, funding the airports, refineries, hospitals, and processing plants that define Traore's transformation agenda. Western mining corporations, accustomed to rewriting African contracts in their own favor, suddenly face a government that rewrites contracts back. The chilling effect for Western interests is enormous. If Burkina Faso can do this, why can't Mali, Niger, Guinea, and Tanzania? Every boardroom in London, Toronto, and Sydney is watching. The nationalization is not policy, it is precedent. And precedent is the most dangerous weapon a sovereign nation can wield against an extractive global order. Yet for all the gold and infrastructure, the project that truly shook Western capitals was not built from concrete or steel. It was built from a single geopolitical handshake.
Number 1. Russia Strategic Alliance. In January 2023, Ibrahim Traore ordered French troops out of Burkina Faso. By February, they were gone. Soldiers who had operated on Burkinabe soil for years, the inheritors of a colonial military presence stretching back generations, marched home in a withdrawal that humiliated Paris. But the move was not just defiance, it was calculation. The vacuum had to be filled. Traore's gaze turned east, toward Moscow. Within months, Russian delegations arrived in Ouagadougou for talks on military cooperation. By May 2023, Traore declared Russia a key strategic ally. The relationship reached its peak in May 2025 when Vladimir Putin personally met Traore inside the Kremlin during Victory Day celebrations. Read that scene again. The leader of Burkina Faso, a country Western analysts had dismissed as a failed state, walking into the Kremlin as an equal partner with one of the world's nuclear powers. The cooperation extends far beyond weapons. Healthcare, sanitation, scientific research, laboratory infrastructure, all under joint development. Russian military advisors replaced French ones. Russian commercial deals replaced French monopolies. The entire orientation of West African geopolitics shifted on this single axis. Western intelligence agencies are scrambling because the model is contagious. Mali pivoted, Niger pivoted. The Sahel is no longer a French sphere of influence. It is contested ground, and Russia is winning the contest one country at a time. Whether Traore's gamble defeats the jihadist insurgency or unleashes new dangers remains the defining question of his presidency. But one truth is already permanent. The map of African power has been redrawn, and a 36-year-old captain from Burkina Faso held the pen.
If you thought this was terrifying, you are not ready for what they found in the video on your screen. Click it right now. The truth is worse than you think.